guys, this is Scott from the Sand House. Today we have a really cool guest, Denny Hickman, and maybe Jessica's going to pop into the picture too. Some people, you may have read her articles through Wood Floor Business and Hardwood Floors Magazine. She also just gave a seminar on, was it grading and cut, right? Or isn't it?
Yeah, it was how the different cuts and the benefits of the brick and quarter sawn and how to move.
So, well, you guys, I'm just going to let you tell the story, but I will just quickly say that you're a 3 or 4 generation strong mill. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm 3. Jessica and her brother are 4.
Okay, and you guys are up in Pennsylvania, but tell us the story about how you started there and got into the land and using it if you can.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just started during the Depression. My grandfather was farming and, just trying to make a living during the winter. He had a team of horses and he'd cut and skid logs for a guy in the winter when he wasn't farming. So
wow.
He did that for a couple of years and, the crosscut, 2-man crosscut saw. He was a big guy, too. He was 6'3", and those old farmer hands like bear paws, they're huge. And he did that for a couple of years, and then he got a motor off an old calliope and jury-rigged it to a sawmill. And his original mill was a portable mill. He would take it wherever he was cutting logs, so he'd set his sawmill up, cut logs for a few days, then he'd run the sawmill for a few days. And they had, he and my grandmother had some kind of little shanty that they'd unfold, and they just, where they were cutting logs at, they just would live there. And she often said, so we didn't have much money in those days, but nobody did. So, but that's where everything started.
There's something that's interesting to what you just said about the portable mill. I was told that that's why you go to certain areas of the United States and that they're, like you may be working in one house in a town and the flooring's 3 1/4. Like if it were Portland, we'd be working with fir. And then you might go to the next house and it might be a 3 1/2 board. So I guess that's a lot of why it was that way, because people just cut on site.
I've seen that here in western Pennsylvania too, Scott, in that, one town, whatever the flooring mill for that town was making, that's what everybody put in, So it might be different sizes. And when they need to match up something, it might be some oddball size,
So for those that aren't aware of Allegheny, I'm just going to give you a quick background that they're up in northeastern Pennsylvania, up in the corner, or northwestern Pennsylvania. And what would be cool is if you tell us about the land you manage, because you guys are actually FSC certified, and you didn't even really have to try hard to do that because you're already doing it. So
Right. We were actually the first mill in Pennsylvania that Smartwood put in.
Okay.
It must have been about 1998 or 99. One of my foresters brought me a pamphlet about the FSC. And my initial reaction was, yeah, right, I need Al Gore telling me how to grow oak trees, right? But as I looked at it, I said, well, this is what we're doing anyway. From the practical side, certainly we were deficient in the amount of documentation they require, but on the practical side, we were doing it. And one of the things my father had always tried to do was to get private landowners involved in timber management. But we find a stereotype, I think, as a sawmill, in that people think, you sawmill guys are just a bunch of crazy-eyed guys with chainsaws running around raping and pillaging,
Yeah.
And this is really it's really a great program now with the private landowner who really doesn't know what's the best thing to do, because once a year we get this audit, we get this van load of people come in here and we've got to look at a job we cut a year ago. How do we leave the woods? How do we clean up the ruts? We seed the land, things like that. We have to go to an active logging job to show we're not putting mud into a trout stream and things like this, So it's a very good program for that private landowner,
So, and the other cool part, this is what you can make clear for me is, I know that you own a lot of land there, but you also don't you kind of lease the rights to harvest from other portions?
Well, we've got about as much as we own involved with private landowners. Okay, and we don't. It's all done on a handshake. We don't. The only thing that they sign is a letter that says that they understand the FSC parameters and they agree to it.
Okay.
So we're not. Because we talked about that a lot, and as a landowner ourselves, we looked at it, and there's no way I would ever sign a piece of paper that I was committed to 20 years with a guy or something like that. So
Yeah.
these people get out of it at any time, and things happen. Sometimes the people that get involved with this are looking at the long-term management things. But, families have crisis. There's things come up. Maybe sometimes they need cash and they got to cut timber. So, I wasn't going to handcuff anybody from doing that. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and so we'll just take it out of the program then, and that's, do what we do. I actually had a guy call me one Monday morning. Said his kid's in jail. He's got $8,000 worth of bad checks. He wanted me to go cut enough timber to cover his kid's checks.
Wow.
So I said, okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's definitely community involvement right there.
Yeah.
So, I've used your stuff and am in love with it. For those contractors that don't understand the importance of investigating or learning about who's milling their product, what are the things that they should look for in a mill that are beyond, obviously, just, hey, the flooring's at the distributor? Like, what makes you guys so good without giving away anything proprietary?
I think one of the biggest things is how we dry our lumber. Okay. We buy very, very little lumber on the outside. All of the lumber for the flooring plant comes from our own sawmill and through our own kilns. And so we've got 7 dry kilns. We're turning about 500,000 feet of kiln dried lumber a month.
Wow.
500 horsepower boiler that we're burning green sawdust in. Green sawdust is our fuel source. And so you just have to watch it. And, there's how lumber dries is a very fascinating thing. And you can't look at a chunk of wood and tell if it's been dried properly or not. But how it's going to lay in some woman's house a year from now, it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
I think that's why we can do, 12-foot long, 10-inch wide live sawn that is straight. It's not crooked because as you're drying, we're not developing the stresses, or if they do get there, we know how to get rid of them.
Yeah. But it's interesting that you talk about the drying, because I know there are a lot of guys that I talk to that will buy product. Let's just say we're talking strip, right? Not in custom. If they're buying strip, they'll sit there and say 15 cents a foot matters to me on a 700-foot floor, which works out to what, $35 or something?
Yeah, right.
It's pretty nothing. And they'll buy the flooring that's cheaper because of that. And they don't realize, like, a year later, that flooring, once it hits its native state, that's the flooring that's the crap that you get a little gap or something that you get a callback for. Whereas, I was taught, like, it's the drying. And then another thing you can tell the audience about this, is use this term, is I learned about something called straight line rips.
Sure.
Right? So, and that's something for those watching that are the contractors, if you could tell us what that means, so that how important that is for the floor being straight.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's your equipment. We've got a Marine Johnson rip saw, a gang rip. We've got 4 movable saws in this setup, and it's, that was one of the things I really investigated before I bought that system, is that it makes straight boards.
Yeah.
It gives what's actually called a glue line cut, which means that if a dimension plan or furniture maker was going to be using this same thing, the cut is good enough and straight enough that they can glue those pieces together.
Oh, wow.
And it's a more expensive rip saw, but it's a good one. And that was the biggest thing I said, because we do a lot of this wide, long plank, and you can't do it if it's crooked, man. You'll sell a guy one floor, then he's looking for somebody else next time.
Yeah, that's a good tip for anybody watching that wants to get into anything beyond 5 inches. If it's not a good mill, you better just not take the job. I don't care if they bought it on eBay. Buy it from these guys. So, one of the other things that I think is pretty useful for people to think about, that not a lot of people think about but should, is when you get to certain latitudes, right? My understanding is you're ending up with better lumber where you guys are than, say, somewhere far south where maybe the growth, there's something in the wood that's a little
I can't speak to that exactly. I know that we have a shorter growing season here, so typically it's tighter growth rings and that type of stuff, but I can't speak
yeah, I mean,
why it's bad out of the south. I know ours is nice. We have good uniform color. We don't have a lot of the subspecies, especially like in the white oak. Ours is all pretty much just Quercus alba. Where further south you go, you get more chestnut oak and bur oak, and and that's it looks different, So
another thing, and my understanding also is there's certain latitudes where you don't have issues with powder post beetles because of the winter season. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean we'll see them here on occasion,
but they're not as common as. Yeah.
It's more like in your softer whitewoods, we'll see it more in soft maple or poplar, something like that when we do the oaks,
Yeah. Well, what do you guys, are you just sending tons out the door of live sawn white oak right now? I mean, that seems to be the look. What else is going on?
Well, the live sawn is very popular right now. We're doing a lot of that. We're doing a lot of it in, the different textures, the wire brushing, chiseled edges. We do a lot of hand scrape that, our hand scrape looks very different. Ours looks more footworn instead of some Amish guy on crack went berserk beating it with a hammer and a chain, And then we've also, we're making a ton of herringbone right now. You'd be surprised how much herringbone out of the live song we're doing. And I'll tell you, we've been getting some photography back on some of these, and just because the floor has knots doesn't mean it's going to look like a hunting camp. It's some pretty effective stuff.
So where are you sending most of that herringbone?
All over from New York City to Jess just did one with a designer in Malibu Beach that we did a 5 by 30 inch live sawn with a real light hand scrape on it. Yeah. And we got some pictures back on that. It's a really classy place. Yeah, really
that's
neat.
Cool. You have to share those with us for sure. I want to see them.
I'm sure she'll get it out there. She's. Oh, okay.
You come in, Jessica.
Follow Instagram on Hickman Woods. Hickman Woods Instagram.
I'll put that up on the screen.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. But there's so much to ask. But I think what we can do is we can kind of revisit this again because I'm trying to have people sort of introduce themselves and then we'll talk and learn some more things and then share that back with the audience. So you go for number 2 soon?
Yeah, let me say one more thing if
ahead.
I've got just a second about the FSC stuff. And part of my frustration that I have with the FSC is that, we'll get calls where people want 5-inch rift and quarter clear 7 to 12 foot FSC certified. Okay? If people who are genuine about the FSC program and take into account what we as the primary producers are bringing out of the woods, they would go for more of this mill run grade, random width, utilize the whole log, instead of putting out those very perfect boards, then we'll put the FSC sticker on it so we all feel warm and fuzzy inside. You know what I mean? There's a fair amount of hypocrisy in it. I used to argue with people, but I just, hell with it. I got to sell stuff, But I know you have a lot of involvement with that and out there on the West Coast, and that's just something I feel needs that the FSC did a poor job in educating the architects and the design people and stuff like that about what it's all about,
Well, that's what we're here trying to do through this because, one segment of what gets put out in information that has very little voice at the moment is through the contracting community that has been taught by proper people like yourself. So, the best front line outside of the designers would be the contractors and so forth. So, because we want them to understand, like, that realistically, you're right. You have more waste associated with an order if it's super picked through. And, that's a good point. And the other point that I tell people is, like, it's crazy for people to say, oh, well, this comes from here and it's sustainable. And in reality is, if forestry wasn't sustainable, it wouldn't exist.
Well, that's right. That's
at least
true.
in the United States.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate talking to you. I'm gonna, at the end of this, guys, watch for their website link. You can check out all their stuff, and we're glad you came on, and we're gonna hit you back up soon. Okay.
All right, Scott. Anytime. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
Bye.